I'm going to share something with you guys that literally changed my real estate business forever. And I'm hoping that it has the same impact on you. So when I first got started, I was on a mission to say, okay, well, the fastest way to succeed is just find people that are already getting the results that I want and ask them how to do it. So what I did is I would travel all over the place and I would go shadow people. I was obsessed with podcasts. I would check, every top producer, reach out to them. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Can I come shadow you? Give me 10 minutes. I'll pay you. I'll work for free. I'll do whatever it takes. Just share with me, please, what you are doing. And so I would go and meet with these people. And I learned a lot of, what I learned was that you could succeed in this business many, many, many different ways. And I would sit down with somebody and, with direct outbound prospecting, and I would sit with them for an hour or two and they'd set 2 or 3 listing appointments. They'd go and they'd get 2 out of the 3. I'm like, okay, cool. I can do that. I grew up in phone sales. I can do that. Then I'd go back to my office, bang the phones, not get any appointments for hours and hours and hours. I'm like, what? I don't understand. What am I missing? Then I'd go watch a podcast and somebody would be talking about using direct mail or like a geographic farm. And I'm like, oh, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Let me do that. I just watched this podcast with this person and they're getting 75 listings a year from their farm. That is a no-brainer. If I put a direct mail piece with a strong call to action and a great value proposition, makes sense. I farm an area and those people start reaching out to me. Tried that. Didn't work. I'm like, well, I don't know. I got the exact same piece they got. They gave me their mailer. I used the exact same mailer they were using. I sent it out to 1,000 houses. Crickets. No one called me. I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. Then I'd be off again, learning from somebody else, doing a different tactic, like internet leads. I'm like, shit, I used to smash internet leads in the mortgage business. I can do that as well. So at the time, Google pay-per-click was the thing. Had some Zillow and Realtor.com. I'm like, these suck. I don't understand. I'm doing this. I have good phone skills. It's how I grew up in the industry on the mortgage side of the business. Nothing's working. The point is this. What I didn't realize, catch my breath, what I didn't realize is I was comparing my chapter 1 to their chapter 20. Stay with me here. What I didn't realize at the time that I talked to so many agents about now, you see, everything works. Every tactic and strategy works, I promise. The thing that I didn't understand was the element of time. Time was the factor that I wasn't taking into consideration. You see, Susie, that I went to go see, that was getting all these listings from this farm, she had been mailing and doing events in this farm for 22 years. And I'm like, oh, that's why. She didn't mail out to 1,000 houses one time and expect to get listings. She was doing it forever. The guy that I sat with, who was setting 2 or 3 listing appointments in 1 hour of outbound phone calls, well, he's been doing it for 17 years. And the people he was calling were past client center of influence that he's been doing business with for almost 2 decades. I'm like, oh, that makes more sense. The person doing internet leads, they're like, well, Brandon, dude, we didn't get our first closing on an internet lead for 9 months straight. We were spending $5,000 a month on Google doing PPC for 9 months before we had our first commission check. I was like, ding, 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 ding. Time is the factor that I was not taking into consideration. So now I share this with you, and I've been sharing this now for probably over 10 years. Whatever tactic or strategy you're going to deploy as your pillar of business, whether it be an unpaid outbound strategy, a paid inbound, paid outbound, doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, whatever strategy you believe in is really the right way to put it. You have to understand, it's going to take a minimum, listen closely, 6 months with anything you do. Anything. And every single person that is succeeding with that tactic or strategy will tell you the exact same thing. Because here's what we see. I'm sure we will agree on this. Realtors have a very, very difficult time sticking with anything. They try something just like I did for 30 days. They don't get results. And then they want to blame the thing and say that tactic or that strategy doesn't work, where they just keep bouncing from one thing to the next. Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And it's like, well, that's why you're not getting success. That's why you're not getting results. For me, as you guys know, I just believe in direct outbound prospecting for so many different reasons. And so when an agent does that, I try to tell them, listen, it's going to take probably 3 or 4 months for you to build a pipeline. That's how long it takes. Because when you talk to somebody today, whether that be a past client, a sphere of influence, a divorce attorney, a for sale by owner, an expired listing, it's going to take a second for things to start really happening. Now, when you hear that, you're like, yeah, dude, I get it. But we say we get it right up until the time that we're in the saddle. When you're making phone calls and you feel like you're spinning your wheels, like, dude, this just doesn't work anymore. No, that's not true. It's the approach, the skills, and how long have you been doing it? You know how many messages I get on Instagram? People are like, dude, I made 50 phone calls and I didn't get one lead. I'm like, 50 phone calls? You need to be making 50 phone calls an hour for 6 to 7 hours a day for 6 months before you even start to have an opinion on the strategy, the tactic, and what's working and what's not. And they're like, wow. I'm like, yeah, that's what it takes. So I guess that's something for you guys to consider. And so let me know your thoughts on that and how long you're. Love it. You guys are going to be on the vlog, so you guys can say hi. There's the dog. Oh, watch this. Here we go. Hey, buddy. Hi. Hi. Say hi. How you guys doing? All right? Okay. Sweet. Your dog's going to be on YouTube. Is that okay? Yeah, no problem. Okay. Just want to make sure. Your dog's going to be on YouTube. He's going to be famous now. Kevin's his name? Oh, that's the best dog name ever. See you guys. All right, so just it's what happens with these rants. You never know what's going to happen. So the next time you look at maybe taking advice or trying something, the second you say I'm going to try something is the very moment that I think you're setting yourself up to fail. It's I'm going to commit to this thing. I'm going to put my head down, a minimum of 6 months. Go all out, become a master of that tactic or that strategy, minimum for 6 months, more like a year, before you place your first judgment. And if you think about this and all the things you've tried, you gotta go more than 30 days. Nothing happens once, like I tried it once. I called one for sale by owner, it didn't work. You called one for sale by owner, what are you talking about? You gotta call hundreds before you even start to get good. So this has really served me, and hopefully this mindset will serve you as well. If you have questions about the tactic or strategy you're using, certainly let me know in the comments, and I'll plan on seeing you guys tomorrow. Thanks for your time.